Hey guys, this is Mitch of All Trades. Welcome back to my channel. Yep, I'm back. So for those that follow me on Instagram, you saw that I posted a video stating that if you are a nurse, aspiring nurse, or interested in nursing, drop your questions, I'll give you your answers. So I'm going to be answering the majority of the questions of people that asked me initially, and then as time goes on, I'll be answering more questions, putting up more videos answering the other questions. Just a little background on who I am. I've been working as a nurse for about 1.5 years, so I've had like some experience under my belt. I've been working on a level 1 trauma hospital in their med-surg trauma floor. I'm currently enrolled in a graduate school obtaining my DNP degree in family nurse practice. So I'd like to become a family nurse practitioner in the future. So let's get to the questions. While in nursing school, what was your most efficient study tactic? In nursing school, I studied by myself most of the time. Lots of people advise against that. They want you to join study groups. I always figured that whenever I was in study groups, I always got distracted. We would always divert to something else. So for me personally, I like to study alone, and then maybe during tests or like major exams, I would pair up with a group of people so at least we can bounce back and forth on like questions and answers. But then again, if you found a great study group that doesn't distract you, I would suggest go with that. As far as studying, what I normally did was I would read the textbook or read the PowerPoint, and then I would take key points and write them down. So what I learned is that the more that you, when you write things down, you remember them quickly, you retain the information more. So whenever I wrote key stuff down, I was able to remember it more, and that was kind of my way of studying. So let's say I read a whole chapter or 2 chapters, or I read a whole PowerPoint, and I have my notes, like my little key points down, I wrote them down. I create a little study guide for myself. So these are like the important things that I have to remember, and I was able to study based off of that paper. My best advice is not to study in the room. For me, whenever I try to study in the room, 1, I always got distracted, 2, I always fell asleep. So I know that you have to get your butt out your bed, out your room, and go to the library or go somewhere else and study. So that's another study advice. Also, I watch lots of videos. So I'm a visual learner, so a lot of things that I see, I easily remember it. So just the same way I would write things down or actually type things down again. When I type it again or write it again, it's my way of visually remembering stuff. I also relied on videos back in nursing school. There are lots of videos on YouTube, lots of websites with videos that really explain things more graphically. It's more animated and it's easier to remember. Also, another study tactic is going to tutoring. I don't know if that's a study tactic, but tutoring is your best friend. You always want to go and ask for help and not wait till last minute or think that you can handle everything yourself. So tutoring, I recommend. Have you taken pathophysiology? If so, what are some tips? So yes, I took pathophysiology in nursing school. There's a video I used to rely on so heavily. It's called Osmosis. That's their name on YouTube. They have really animated and graphic descriptions of like everything health, everything diseases, everything body systems, everything pathophysiology. So like it helps also break down information in simpler terms, and it makes it easier. So I would suggest that. Or Khan Academy, that was also a good website that I relied on. It also made videos describing little things about pathophysiology that you probably were not able to understand in school. What's the hardest part about graduate school? The hardest part about graduate school for me is actually remembering I'm in grad school. So my thing is that like being that I'm home, I'm working, like I'm not like in college, in a college setting all the time. I tend to forget that I'm in school. And that sounds crazy, but I don't know, like sometimes I'm not really like, sometimes I don't get motivated to like finish assignments and stuff, like, cause I forget. But I've been trying to like remind myself that I'm still in school. So I would say that's one of the hardest things. Graduate school in general hasn't been difficult for me. It hasn't really been stressful. I would say the professors are much nicer and lenient, in my opinion. They don't really ask for much, and I think because they know that most of us are grown. Most of us, well, some of my classmates have families, so they don't really ask for much as nursing school professors do. So graduate school has been a breeze so far. The hardest thing for me is just remembering that I'm in it. What's the hardest adjustment you had to make when you first entered the workforce? So when I started working, the hardest adjustment I had to make was managing my time. After college, I was kind of jobless for like 6 months. So I really felt like I had all the time in the world and I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't doing much. I wasn't really on a time constraint. I wasn't as busy, which was good for me. It was like a little vacation for me. Well, not a little, but it was a big vacation. But I would say that now that I started working, I have realized how to be more intentional with my time. So like I mentioned in previous videos, I work 3 days a week, and those 3 days really take all my energy. So a work day is really like a day that I just, it just takes up my whole day. When I get home, I'm not ready to do anything significant or just rather just eat, watch TV, sleep. And even if I go outside and hang out with my friends, I really force it. Like that's how much work takes out of one day. So if I have 3 days that I'm working, the rest of my 4 days, I have to make sure that I'm more intentional. If I do have errands I need to run, I need to make sure I plan ahead of time. I make effort. If, I'm trying to make these videos for you guys, I have to plan my time, plan my day more. Yeah, that sounds weird, but I'm sure it's correct grammar. So I'm looking into going into a nursing school instead of a university. And then trying to get into a program. Now I've done my research about the schools out there, but I think I've found the one. What are your thoughts on just going straight into the nursing schools that provide RN/BSN programs? To be honest, there's not much of a difference. Whatever you learn in nursing school, you're also going to learn in a university that has a nursing program. And you're going to become the same nurse and you will work in the same environment as other people that went to universities. The only difference I would say is that universities, being that they're more expensive than nursing schools, they might give you more exposure to different things. You might be able to have your clinical rotations in bigger hospitals that have more advanced technology compared to like if you go to a nursing school and their list of their resources are kind of limited or their technology is not as up to date. But honestly, that's not really significant because one, you can always work or volunteer at a hospital if you're willing to explore different places like that. So I would say there's not really much of a difference. If you're looking to nursing schools, if you're going to nursing school rather than going to like a university that has a nursing program, by all means you can go ahead. If nursing school is what you want to do, girl or boy, whoever it is, you go for it, because at the end of the day, you're learning the same thing that I learned and someone else learned. So yeah. Next question, how did you find a program? So for graduate school, honestly, I knew what I wanted. I knew that one, I was not by any means doing an online school. I've never been a fan of online schools. I've never been a fan of online classes. I just always felt like I wasn't really I wasn't learning well in online classes because I'm not able to engage with my professor or even engage with other students to even interact. To me, I wasn't really a fan of online schools. So I just did like a Google search, to be honest, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted a school that wasn't online. I wanted a school that was in New Jersey. I wanted something that was a direct BSN to DMP program, so like from my bachelor's to my doctorate degree. So all I did was search it up. So I searched it up. It didn't really give me much options considering like what I'm looking for in my criteria. So I opened it a little bit to New York, and I got a little bit of options, but the one that I currently go to right now was my top one option, and I'm really grateful to God that I was able to get into this school, because the way is just like close to me, close to work. It's just everything just falls, like literally falls into place. So yeah. So what I did was a Google search. I didn't really do anything special. Yeah. How are you balancing work and school? Girl, I am trying my best. I mean, it's not the easiest. But I mean, I have to be going. Like, I can't stop. But balancing work and school, it's been a struggle of mine, simply because my life is not just work and school. You know, like I'm very involved outside of that, at my church, at my surrounding community, doing videography, not only making YouTube videos, but also videography for clients. So like, it's been kind of a, you know, it's been hard, but I've been trying to practice self-discipline, to stop procrastination, and to control myself in this new year. It's doable. I believe it's doable to balance work and school. It's all about you making the effort to do that. Do you need critical care experience before applying? For me, I didn't need critical care experience, and I think that's because of the program that I was applying to. There are some graduate degree programs where you do require critical care experience. So as a family nurse practitioner, I didn't need a critical care experience. Now there was some programs like the family nurse practitioner emergency care, or nursing in this, and man, I practiced this before. Getting on camera. Nurse in anesthesiology in nursing, those require critical care experience. I'm sure there are different degrees that require critical care experience. It all depends on what you apply to, but for me personally, it did not require critical care experience. All right, tips to get through UDC 1. I don't know what UDC stands for, but the school that I went to, they divided their courses, they divided the semesters where, you know, you take your prerequisite classes, and then from a certain point you take your main nursing classes, and it's divided in 4 semesters. So UDC 1 is first semester of the main core nursing classes, UDC 2 is the second semester of that, 3 and 4 respectively. So that's like 2 years, your last 2 years in your nursing program. So UDC 1 for you, girl, is gonna be one of your hardest, because it's a transition from prerequisite classes, regular classes, your math and English and statistics and your psychology and whatever, to actual like nursing clinical classes. So my tip, first of all, is don't be like me and get too involved in extracurricular activities. I was everywhere. I was doing this, doing that. I feel like that one took a huge toll on me. But to God be the glory, I survived. So that's one thing. Make sure that you don't take on too many responsibilities, because at this moment you want to focus. It's gonna be a huge change, both in like learning and also in testing. It's not gonna be memorization like you would in anatomy and physiology. It's gonna be more of like applying the knowledge that you know into questions. So your questions are not going to be straightforward anymore. It's going to be scenarios, and you have to figure it out. It's crazy. Like my class, we were really like taken aback because everything was just crazy. It was a huge switch. I don't know how things have been. Maybe they've helped you guys transition better, but I would say that this year is a year that you want to focus. Another tip is to make sure that you and your professor like this. Like make sure you have a good relationship with your professor. I've always been an advocate for making sure your professor knows your name. When you do that, it helps. It helps them know that you're serious about your grades, and then they help you out. Sometimes when you're always in their office asking them questions, they'll give you tips on how to do stuff. They'll give you resources that they normally wouldn't give the whole class, because you've made the effort to reach out to them and go up to them and talk to them and ask for help. They really want you to do well, even though it may not seem like that, but they really want you to do well and excel as a new nurse. So they will give you resources, they will help you out. It just takes you to make the effort to reach out to them. When you're entering this stage of your nursing program, you are going to be focused more on NCLEX questions. That's when they're going to start introducing to you like NCLEX books to get, study guides, and all that stuff. You always want to reach out and get as much help as you can. When I was in school, I had a mentor. I don't know if they still do nursing mentorship programs in some schools, but if not, always find like someone that's in the upper grade than you, an upperclassman, and just befriend them. These are stuff that you need, but you have to make the effort to reach out for help. Practicing NCLEX questions, that's like major key as well. You have to start practicing. I made a mistake of not even looking at them, but this is why don't follow my example. That's why I'm able to tell you, because I didn't do it and I know how detrimental it was, and it was until I started practicing that I was able to even survive and pass and get through nursing school. So I would say start practicing NCLEX questions. It might be hard at first, you might be getting them wrong, but as long as you practice, that's the point of practicing. Practicing is not always to get it right, but to learn. So even if you start getting things wrong, at least you're learning. Some schools already offer like softwares and stuff to help in practice, that have practice questions in there. You don't have to start purchasing yet if you feel like you're low on the money, but I'm positive that your school or your program has resources where they provide NCLEX questions. This is where you want to practice on. And you can, because questions, I'm sure, like practice books, they're always divided on like systems and topics and stuff. You can start with the ones that you learned in school already, you've learned in your classes, and practice from there. Also online, quiz notes, is that what it's called? Quiz notes, right? Doesn't sound right. Is it Quizlet. They have loads of questions. People swear by Quizlet. I've never been a fan of Quizlet, but I've used it sometimes and it's really been very helpful. But people swear by Quizlet. It really helps. They have tons of questions, tons of flashcards. Like, you have endless options. And I want to give a special thank you for all your questions. It was a lot of questions. And if you even have more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below or even DM me. I'm gonna share my Instagram. Yeah, so thank you guys so much once again. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe and join the movement. I want to be making more videos about nursing in the future, so be on the lookout. But in the meantime, thanks so much, and I'll see you in my next video.